Cyril here. It's the end of a school year and I'm still letting off steam from the whole job thing. So let's review. As always, these are a combination of my experiences and experiences I've heard from others. Tell me in the comments if you have your own dumb admin experience. First off, the student here is chronically absent, as in missed 101 days of school. That's one for every Dalmatian puppy. And the spineless cowards in admin walk into the room and ask, "Hey, I know so-and-so's failing, but that reflects poorly on the school. Is it possible you can regrade his work? Instead of giving him zeros, just give him a 50 for all the missing assignments?" The grade was still below failing. Apparently this is a very common thing because I've heard it multiple times, but this one was worth sharing. Admin went, "Hey, I know so-and-so is failing, but could you only grade the work on the days he actually showed up to class? Because even though he missed around 90 to 100 days, yeah, admin didn't give a specific number, well, he clearly must have done something right." So, according to the teacher's records, the student would still score in the single digits. Why? Because according to the teacher's records, the student doesn't turn in work even when he is in class. So what about classwork? Well, he doesn't turn that in either. So, this plan was dead on arrival. What makes you think a person who is absent for like half the school year would actually do work? Because there's no consequences there. Like, what the heck? What the heck? So, second, work is often not graded on the same day it's turned in, so admin asking for grading work on the day it was turned in, or was the admin asking for the day it was graded? Okay, I'm probably overthinking this. Either way, the student would have failed badly. The next one involved nepotism. At this charter school, the principal hired a relative, and the relative had to speak at a professional development session. This professional development meeting had a slide presentation prepared. He put every single word that he was saying on the slide and read it word for word. Word for word. All the teachers were screaming on the inside and probably wanted to scream on the outside as well. So spiraling back to attendance, this one has the admin go to the teacher and ask, "Have you tried building a relationship with the student instead of marking the student tardy all the time?" The student didn't show up to homeroom. Hell, the student didn't even show up till halfway past first period. This admin is also, in the office. Schools have something called an attendance counter. So, isn't it your job to mark the student as tardy? They're the one walking into the attendance counter and signing in and then getting a pass to go to class. This is your job. This isn't the teacher marking the student tardy. This is the admin doing it. What the heck? The next one was the first week of school. It's August, it's hot, it's 90 to 100 degrees. For those of you who don't use freedom degrees, that's over 30 degrees Celsius with a heat index just as high, if not way higher. So, this building had no AC, but the admin asked the students and the teachers to come in anyways because it's the first day of school. You have to be here. Be excited. Rah, rah. Windows were still closed as part of school policy in case students tried to run out the school and escape that way, and water bottles were banned. Would I sound like a jerk if I made this comment? You're telling students and teachers to simply sit in a 100-degree oven and say, just weather it out. I mean, seriously. You are sitting in a hot box. Classrooms are known for being poorly ventilated and so stuffy that you could just feel the humidity from all the metabolic water your 35 students are producing. You can't just go, "Oh, the body is at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe everyone will be okay in that heat." No, No one's okay in that heat, or humidity for that matter. Any admin who does otherwise might as well be burning their students and their teachers at the stake. Hell, I think the students and the teachers would form an angry mob and burn that admin at the stake. No water bottles, no AC, no open windows, just poor ventilation, possibly a fan. Possibly. I say possibly because I know some teachers do have those, which is really bad on the school's part if the teacher's personal property is doing the heavy lifting for climate control and grounds purposes. Okay, so next one, more nepotism at work. New admin, possibly a nepo baby, decides that he needs to exert his dominance by introducing a new rule. It's a dumb, pointless one. Unless you had lunch duty, you as a teacher could not eat in the faculty dining hall. Instead, you were going to eat in your classroom, not the faculty dining hall. So, admin, you are an idiot sandwich. Because of school shootings, this next one has admins ask teachers to use selfie sticks and mirrors to search corners and use their ears to listen to any gunshots and use their noses to smell any smoke. Sadly, I don't think this is a bad rule. I think it's a sad necessity we have as a society because we're in America, the land of school shootings. But I feel like the fact that this rule exists is an indictment on society as a whole and not on just individual admins. Although I do take issue with saying, hey, during a fire drill or whenever the fire alarm sounds, go sniff for gunshots. It's just, ugh. Okay, next one. This particular admin wanted this teacher to work from home. Okay, you might be thinking, pandemic. This is a good thing, right? Did I say work from home? I mean work from the hospital. No. No. You know what's going to happen? The very angry spouse of that teacher or another relative who is dealing with that teacher in the hospital is probably going to put admin in the hospital for that. Like, you do not ask them to go, I know you're giving birth or having major heart surgery or getting a tumor removed or getting treatment for your leukemia, but why don't we just simply force you to work while having surgery? I'm sure the anesthetic is totally not going to affect your productivity or anything. Idiots. Idiots all around. This next one comes from a charter school. Turns out the school closed in the month because the school ran out of money and or admin skipped town. I'm going to run out of reaction images, aren't I? So, at this one school, all the bowls needed to be gray. The students were not allowed to bring their own food, and the only food allowed to be served was sushi. Cleaning chemicals were banned. If this sounds familiar to any of you, I pulled this off of a news article about Kanye West's school in California called Donda Academy. That's not even the nuttiest thing. That's not even the top 10 nuttiest thing this guy had to put out ever. So, at this upper school, a teacher said her previous workplace asked her to go paint a wall in her classroom using her own money. The new principal just disliked the color of that wall and asked her to spend her own money to go paint it. What the actual hell? You're the admin. You have the power of the purse. For this school, you have maintenance men on your staff. You couldn't have had one of those maintenance men paint that wall. Also, you requested this, and this is like outside the scope of a regular teacher's ability. Are you going to criticize that teacher for getting the wrong shade of paint, even though you just said, just go paint this wall a different color? Are you going to go complain about the teacher's paint job because clearly a math teacher knows how to paint walls and make it look good? Okay, paint it. Okay, that's giving the math teacher too little credit, but still, this is admin making this request. There needs to be a new Narnia book called The Lion, the Witch, and the Audacity of This Bitch. I need to figure out what on earth are you thinking? Like, what on earth? For this story, there's this dispute between a teacher and a parent and the admin who is enabling the parent. So there's this child, a boy, who is bored but gifted, according to the parent. So the admin thinks it's a good idea to move that child into an honors chemistry class as a freshman. The teacher and the parent are basically having a shouting match with each other. The teacher claims that the kid is inept. The kid lacks basic skills in unit conversions, much less the skills needed to succeed in honors chemistry. He can't even find the slope of a line and struggles with balancing system of equations and struggles with even balancing simple chemical equations. Things that would have been covered in either a middle school physical science class or a previous class in general. The admin consistently sides with the parents by saying the teacher is simply inept. You know, if the teacher was simply inept, you would see that result among all students. But if the curve is a perfect bell curve, and the bell curve is leaning towards B's, as in 85s and above, I think that is an issue of the students at that point. I mean, yes, you have to make adjustments and the data will be skewed, but in general, if a student lacks foundational skills, you're not going to succeed no matter how competent the teacher is. The teacher would need to go backtrack. So the teacher asks, okay, if this student is truly gifted, let the standardized test show it. We're going to simply wait until the standardized test comes, which is like the ACT, the PSAT, or whatever ninth graders take. I only remember the ACT, the SAT, and the PSAT from my high schools, and those are what I remember because I've never been forced to administer these, because that's what my job is, substituting long term. So anyways, the student clearly did not make the marks, as in missed the mark badly. So the parent proceeds to accuse the teacher of rigging the exam somehow, and admin tries to get the teacher to dumb down the curriculum just to end this story, just so that one student could pass. Barf. Just barf. You know how I said Lion, the Witch, and the Audacity of This Bitch from earlier? Yeah, I take those remarks and transfer it here. Like, I need to have a drone with HD cameras figure out where the Audacity is, because the Audacity of admin and the parents is clearly not in my line of sight. And finally, I saved the dumbest one for last. So, there's this job interview. Admin interviews a candidate for a chemistry job. Why is it always chemistry teachers that get with the explosive reactions? I don't know. Admin needs a second set of eyes in the forms of a department chair. Which, honestly, I wish some more admins did this. Department chair recuses because she's actually interviewing one of her former students, which is a bad thing. So, fair. So, different department chair interviews a student. She's going in for this chemistry position, like I said. Here's where shit hits the fan. 2 weeks later, the school rejects the applicant. The applicant only finds out because the school posted, "We have a new chemistry teacher," on Facebook. This is probably the most unrealistic part of this entire story, because what kind of Zoomer uses Facebook? So, admin has the audacity to say to the department chair, "She will still run events for us, right? See, this particular candidate was an alumna of the school, obvious, and this alumna was so dedicated that throughout her undergraduate years, she ran karate tournaments for the school, she had robotics tournaments, she would even run open houses for the school, specifically targeting the Spanish community, since she was completely fluent in Spanish." So the principal had the audacity to say something stupid. The principal said, "So what if we don't hire her? She'll still work for us for free anyways." So, That candidate found out. So the department chair was told this by the principal. That department chair went to the department chair who recused. That department chair who recused probably told that candidate. So, yeah, that's bad. Now, anytime she ends up doing any service for the school, she's sending them a bill. Yeah, she wasn't cheap. She charges for the room, charges for the mice, charges for looking in the mirror twice. So, the nerve of some people. This is Cyril signing off.